All right, it's noon, February 11th, coming to you from Iron Fire Workspaces here in Los Angeles. I am Jessica Martini. I am really excited today. I was just talking backstage with our guest. We have known each other for almost 20 something years. So a long time, almost 25 years we've known each other. But really excited to have her join us today. And we are going to be talking about a topic that I think is so timely. So without any further ado, here is Katie Belfi.
Hi, Hi.
Yeah, we were, like I said, we were chatting backstage. We've known each other for a long time, but you are doing some really exciting things now. You're in Texas now, right?
Yes, unbelievably, lifelong New Yorker, somehow ended up in Austin, Texas, but here I am.
New York girl in a Texas world.
Yeah.
But now you've got your own business, right? You're doing resilience coaching, readiness. So tell me what is that? Let's talk about it. Let's jump right in.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's been a very long, varied path to where I am today. Coming out of college, I went straight to law school, became a commercial litigator, thought that was the route, and very quickly realized, like, this is the wrong choice. This is not for me. I made a wrong turn.
Mm-hmm.
And had the great fortune of landing a job with FEMA as an attorney. So for those who don't know, FEMA is the Federal Emergency Management Association.
Mm-hmm.
And I joined the agency about 4 weeks before Hurricane Sandy hit New York. And so I had this unbelievable trial by fire education about emergency management, about law and emergency management. And it struck a part of me that made me realize that this has always been a part of me. And this is really where I was supposed to be. And I sort of just kept pulling that thread. And little by little, the pieces of it that resonated less with me and more with sort of the things that I thought that I should be doing sort of fell away. And so each step I took along this path, it got deeper into emergency management on one side of things, but as I'm sure you can relate, I have always had side gigs. So every job I had, I was simultaneously building a wellness business. I became a personal trainer and a yoga instructor and a meditation coach and a holistic nutrition coach. And at a certain point, both of these worlds sort of collided. And I had this epiphany of, how am I not talking about resilience in this holistic way and talking about it in connection with mindfulness and as a part of our foundational well-being when this is part of what I'm doing every single day? And it's something that I realized that was really missing from the emergency management world too. It was like, I was the emergency manager. Our job was to help people prepare for emergencies and respond when the proverbial shit hits the fan. And everybody's looking at us as like the people that are supposed to save you. And all I could think was, why am I not teaching you how to save yourself?
Ooh, and I like that one.
Honestly, thank you. And I think part of that comes from being the youngest of four too. I mean, that was definitely part of my upbringing, was like learning how to take care of yourself and making sure that, you knew what to do. And I sort of got to this point where I was working, when I became a consultant, I was working with these organizations and colleges and, Fortune 500 companies and government agencies. And I would say to people, listen, I can do all the work you want me to do to help you build institutional resilience. But if we don't talk about the individual resilience of your people, you might as well not hire me. Mm-hmm. Like it is that indispensable. If you do not have people that are resilient working for you, there is no way you will achieve resilience as an institution.
Yeah.
And so that's where it came from. And, I think it's part of what has so dramatically changed the way I think about career. And, there's so much, people talk so much about purpose. And I know this is something you can relate to too, because you have taken a very divergent path. Right? Yeah. But people that are, there's so much talk out there suggesting that like you're supposed to have a purpose and you're supposed to find it. It's a singular thing.
Yeah.
You're supposed to find it. And it's like, you know what? I just don't buy it. That's a racket.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's only when we allow ourselves to really explore the parts of ourselves that get lit up by different things, do we ultimately find the things that give us the greatest sense of purpose.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I want to go back to what you said before about, you've got a great education, right? Great background, became a lawyer. And then as you started actually doing that, like practicing law, you thought, is this the right avenue for what I'm doing? And I think it's important for young people to realize that you don't come out of school and just know right away, boom, now this is it. This is where I'm going to be for the rest of my life. This is what's going to work. Because it is about navigating, okay, how can I use the things I'm good at and the things I like and maybe create my own path, right?
Well, that's exactly right. And I mean, this is basically what I'm teaching in the context of resilience too.
Mm-hmm.
It's how do these experiences and skill sets that you've accumulated along the way help you become resilient in the sense that you're ready for anything. Yes,
Yeah.
I want you to be prepared for emergencies, but what I am trying to convey to people is a sense of resilience that allows you to be prepared for any adversity in your life. You know, and that might be working for a super difficult boss that isn't teaching you what you need to know. And you know what? Your first job out of college, you were working, as for a nonprofit and you had to learn everything on your own. And that experience gave you a skill set that you wouldn't have otherwise had.
Yeah.
And so like, we've got to get over this notion that there has to be certainty from the outset and allow there to be some experimentation and curiosity and help people see the value in that for more than just your career path, for really what defines you as a human being.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And so, I know that you said you're working with companies, but I've also seen you've got a great website and there's some free downloads on there that people can get. What are some of the things that you would impart upon individuals and families, like in the home? Because I know that's something else that you really are focused on. How can individuals be prepared in a meaningful way?
And, I include the resources that I've got on my website are really sort of like the most tangible things that people can immediately grab and go. So for the people that are like, listen, I can't think about emergency preparedness. I cannot talk about another bad thing happening. I'm at my breaking point. I hear you. I see you. These checklists are intended to sort of just give you the bare minimum. And for a lot of people, talking about resilience in this holistic way can be overwhelming. So breaking it down into these like little pieces of like, okay, how do we start preparedness at home? How do we start readiness at home is a really effective way to do things. And so for especially my parents that at this point are like, I have had my kids home for how many days? We have been in this pandemic for 40 years. I cannot do this. I mean, this is a critical moment because this is where you leverage everything you've learned from the last 2 years and you turn this into your resilience for the next emergency. And this is a critical component to resilience that people overlook. Resilience is not about not being impacted and being impervious to everything.
Yeah,
it's going to happen, but it's about what you do with that impact. And not in like a shaming way. This isn't like, oh, well, you better get it right next time. It's like, no, I got that really right until this point. And then certain things happened that were beyond my control. And that's where I hit my breaking point. Let's look at that breaking point and figure out what other resources do I have in my life that I might be able to leverage? So like, what are the things that you do for yourself for self-care? Who are the people in your community that you could be leaning on more that you're not leaning on now? What are the things that you can teach your kids to help them help you? And so to get to that point for families right now, the biggest thing that you can do is start talking about it. Start talking about this experience as a family. Guys, we have just lived through, and we're still living through, this incredible life-changing disaster. This was a disaster. And this is this is going to be a trauma for all of us in our life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everyone has experienced it in a different way. But start talking about it in terms of, can you tell me the parts of this that were really hard for you? Can you tell me the parts of this that maybe were actually really good for you? You know, for some kids, it was like, you know what? I had a lot of anxiety going to school, and being at home really helped me overcome certain things. Or I got to spend more time with my parents or my siblings or whatever it is. And really just starting to talk about those things and pulling out those pieces that we can sort of hang our hats on as wins, and creating actionable items on the things that were like, okay, that really didn't work. And you know, the fact is that like, it's not about preparing for the next pandemic, because, oh, God willing, we will not have another pandemic. It's, you know, it's really about learning how to deal with adversity holistically. Yeah.
What are we getting?
And you know, that's a long-winded way of like telling people where to start right now. But my whole practice is really talking about resilience holistically. And now is not the time to start like, I need to start building a go bag and have my evacuation path when everybody is like, I'm totally burned out and I've got nothing left in the tank.
Yeah. And I think that's what a lot of people were thinking though. Like, okay, now that this has happened, now I need to invest in how many N95 masks and, you know, my backup supply of toilet paper and all that, when really it's more like, it's the mindset, right? Like if something happens again, whether it's this or something, just something else that's difficult, how are we going to prepare ourselves to get through it, because we have to get through it, and how do we prepare and educate our children? I like that you brought that up, to have them go through something difficult, because they're learning from seeing us. That's and right. If we just freak out, I know I can be guilty of that too. If we just freak out and our kids see that, they're going to think, okay, when stuff hits the fan, I just got to go, just run around like my hair got cut off.
That's exactly right. And by doing that, what you're doing is giving your kids and yourself a sense of confidence. Like if we look at this as proof for ourselves of what we're capable of, it can become a really valuable experience for us, no matter how difficult and traumatic it may have been.
100%, 100%. Well, so I want to ask you now, and this is one of my favorite questions to ask people, who do you consider a mentor or an inspiration? And it could be somebody that you know in real life, or maybe someone that you just really know on the internet, which some days it feels like we know those people more.
I know.
So who is it that you look up to, or that you think is a great just inspiration?
I think I'm gonna go with inspiration first. And I think inspiration for me is definitely, it's collectively the women in my family. I come from a family with a lot of women, my mom, and then I have 3 older sisters, and each one has really defined their own path in a really unique way. And each one has taken on this sense of resilience and perseverance and bravery and courage. And each one of them have contributed to what I've come to understand as sort of my definition of resilience and what it is I want to share with the world. And so, you know, that's definitely the inspiration for what it means to me to be resilient and what I hope to teach others.
Okay. Well, shout out to your sisters and to your mom. My mom.
Yeah. I mean, gotta. And listen, and you know what? Part of it was like the resilience they helped me build by being my tough older sisters, you know, like, damn.
Yeah.
And you know, mentors, I've been really fortunate that I have encountered a lot of really brave and sort of strident leaders in the fields that I have been in, some of which have been great examples of what I don't want to be, and in that way have been amazing mentors.
Okay. Good learn.
Yeah. And I wish I had one person in my life that I could say, this person has been, you know, my guiding light and my mentor throughout. But I think because I don't have that, I've had the opportunity to go in so many different directions. So I guess there's a silver lining to that.
Yeah. You know, and I had talked with a friend of mine, Libby, who's also in Texas, a few weeks ago on one of my live streams, and she said that she she likes to take little bits of things from people, you know, and that there's learns. And I think that's important too. I mean, we always kind of get in our heads like, do we need to have a singular mentor who's sort of our guru of what we're doing? No. What if just the way we've created our career, we could just pick the things and the people that sort of collectively give us great inspiration and great knowledge. So
such a good point.
So anything that you would like to plug or anything you would like to share before we wrap up? The time goes very quickly.
It goes so fast. I know. I mean, I have so much to say to you. I keep talking, Jessica. Oh man, this is too much fun. I mean, the website is just www.katiebelfi.com.
Okay.
A new iteration will be coming out soon with some new stuff, including opportunities to work with me individually, some coaching coming out.
Ooh, I like it. Okay.
And I'm very excited. Next week, I will be starting an initiative with St. John's Law School, helping law students build their resilience.
Oh, very
And
nice.
so this could be a new direction. I would love to take this into higher education and help young people start thinking about this before they're out there in the working world.
Okay.
Because I think that's really the time that they need it most.
Awesome. I will have links to that in my link tree. You'll be able to get to my website. I'll link Katie's stuff there. You will also be able to see the recording on YouTube. You'll be able to find us both on social media. And anyone from Bronx Science, if you're going to the reunion, I think I talked Katie into going now. So you'll see both of us there for the 20-year reunion in June in New York. But thank you for joining me. It was so nice to reconnect with you. And
It's a pleasure.
yeah, bye everyone out on the internet.
Bye. Thanks, Jess.